Well, it's now come down to this. The final week of the 2017 NFL season. Man, this season went by so fast. But anyways, last week I had my best week of the season, 13-3. The first time, I don't even think I ever got over 11 wins, and now I got over 12 wins, so that was nice. My best week of the year, which is kind of funny because it's usually, historically, never been really as good at the last parts of the year. But my best week this year, and it felt great. And of course, here's the playoff standings when the final week remain, as it's the Patriots and Steelers with the byes in the AFC, with the Titans going to the Jaguars and the Ravens going to the Chiefs. And in the NFC, it's the Eagles and Vikings with the byes, with the Falcons going to the Rams and the Panthers going to the Saints. Only 3 spots are remaining. We still got to determine who has the home field advantage in the AFC side. We still got the the wild card spots in the AFC between the Bills, Ravens, Titans, and Chargers up for grabs. We still don't know who's going to have the second seed in the we actually don't know the second to 6th seed in the NFC side. The first round bye still up for grabs. The NFC South still up for grabs. Falcons and Seahawks are fighting for the wild card spot. And I'm going to try and get all the final playoff clinching scenarios for a final week of the season. So let's get to my picks. And of course, before I begin, I got to add, I believe I saw this on Wikipedia, that apparently this is going to be the first season since, I think it was 1977, where there was no Sunday night game to finish the year. Oh, Jesus. Why, NFL? Why did you do that? The rationale is it will increase competitiveness. That way, everyone's playing at the same time, like the 4 p.m. games, to be more precise, since that's where a lot of the playoff clinching scenarios and stuff are at 4. Everyone's playing at the same time, so therefore, if say someone if they did what I thought they should have done, is had Panthers at Falcons as the Sunday night game. If the Seahawks lose, then the Falcons would clinch a playoff spot. So then there would be no point for them to even play and such. No, I don't think so. I think that was a terrible idea not to do Sunday night. Because even if that was the case, the Panthers still have to fight for not only the NFC South, but possibly first round bye too. Especially if the Saints don't win and stuff like that. So no, there's still very interesting implications for that game. And also, not having a Sunday night game hurts you financially because that's a very big game regardless what you put up there. The final game of the season with huge playoff implications most likely. That would have gotten you a lot of views and ratings, which would have gotten you a lot of money. So it was dumb, and it's also stupid from a financial perspective. So that was a really dumb move on your part of NFL to do that. But hey, at least I'll have the rest of New Year's Eve off instead of watching the Sunday night game to focus on maybe some videos to finish off the year. So now I'll get to my actual picks. And we get things started with the Packers going to the Lions. For the second year in a row, these two play each other in Detroit end of the season finale, as the Packers are trying to avoid their first losing season since 2008. And the Lions are trying to get their first win season for the second year in a row, and do that for the first time since 1994 and 1995. And of course, they got their first back-to-back 500 or better season since 1999-2000. As the Packers got shut out at home for the second time this year against the incredible Vikings defense, and the Lions. They were the Lions again. You had a shot to still be in the playoff hunt, perhaps, especially since the the Falcons lost last week. But you lost to the Bengals, for crying out loud. How the hell can you do that? Oh my God. Now, since both teams are eliminated, and since Aaron Rodgers is playing, this one I had really up in the air. I had pretty much the entire season I thought the Packers were going to get it. Because I thought this might come down to one of these teams maybe battling for a playoff spot possibly. And as we saw, the Lions have not beaten the Packers at home since 2014. And have been really crazy finishes the last 2 years and such. And of course, now they're not playing, and since Aaron Rodgers is not playing, there's really no real importance for the Packers to really play hard in this game. Although they have been playing better on the road, believe it or not, since Rodgers went out and such. And I'm pretty sure even if the Packers win, they're not going to go up to the second seed or anything like that. I think they're stuck at the 3rd seed. So I won't be surprised if the Packers win, but I think this time around the Lions will get it. But if they don't, I won't be surprised at all. And then it's the Texans going to the Colts, as the Texans, oh my God, they got destroyed by the Steelers on the last Thursday night game of the year. And the Colts, they actually fought really hard against the Ravens last Saturday. That was quite impressive effort they gave there. They almost had a chance to tie it too in the end right there. Gotta give them a lot of credit for that. And of course now, as possibly both teams are going to have to get rid of their coaches at the end of the year. And of course the the Colts have not beaten the Texans at home since 2014, believe it or not. And I still overall think the Texans, although they've lost... Matter of fact, I think both the Texans and the Colts right now have, outside the Browns, possibly like the longest losing streaks in the league right now. That is just unbelievable. Now that I just thought of that too. So I probably had all year maybe the Texans would probably get it. But I think now, seeing how the Colts played last week and the way the Texans are just collapsed pretty much, I think the Colts are going to get this one this time around. But I won't be surprised if the Texans get it. And then we get to our first game with playoff implications, as it's the Bears going to the Vikings. And for the Vikings, if they win, they will clinch first round bye for the first time since 2009 and get just 2 games away from possibly playing the Super Bowl. That would be very interesting. However, if they lose, but if the Saints, well actually more specifically, if the Panthers lose, they still can get first round bye. So if they lose, it's not the end of the world necessarily from the first round bye, but that's still a big concern. As the Vikings shut out the Packers last week in quite an impressive defensive struggle, and the Bears destroyed the Browns last week, but that's the Browns, so it's nothing really to be impressive about. And of course, the Vikings have not lost to the Bears in Minneapolis since 2011, I believe. That's how long it's been since the Vikings have lost to them. And of course, I think that's going to be the case this time. Vikings get the win and now clinch their first round bye. And it's the Jets going to the Patriots. And for the Patriots, if they win, they will clinch first home field advantage for the second year in a row. However, if they lose and the Steelers win, they will fall to the second seed. So there's still a lot of things up to play for them. They got to try and get this win. And of course, the Jets have not beaten the Patriots in Foxborough since 2008. That Thursday night game between Brett Favre and Matt Castle, for God's sake. And the Jets, yeah, after they lost Josh McCown, they're just nothing really. They lost a defensive struggle against the Chargers last week. And the Patriots destroyed the Bills, for God's sake, pretty much. Although the Steelers got played hard against the Browns, because I'm going to get to them eventually, because I'm going to rip them a new asshole for what they're doing. But the Patriots, you can't screw this one up. You got to beat the Jets here, and I think they're going to do so. And clinch first round bye. Home field advantage for them for the second year in a row. And then it's the Redskins going to the Giants, as the Redskins try to avoid their first losing season since 2014. And with the loss, the Giants... Actually, I think the Giants actually... No, they got the Colts still. But if they lose, they definitely will get the second overall pick in the draft. Whereas if they win and the Colts lose, they might be in a tie, possibly to get the third pick. Who knows about that for sure. As the Giants, they got shut out by the Cardinals last week. And the Redskins spanked the Broncos pretty good last week, too. Now, the Redskins won last time around. Remember, that was a wild back-and-forth game in the fourth quarter that was last year. And, of course, oh boy, this one's kind of difficult to predict because the Giants are terrible, but the Redskins are also inconsistent. Oh, boys. And, of course, the Giants, overall, the last 2 times they played at home, remember, they played pretty much solid throughout the game, pretty much. So I think the Giants will get this one, but I won't be surprised if the Redskins get it either. And then it's the Cowboys going to the Eagles for the second year in a row. These two play each other in the season finale in Philly, as the Cowboys try to get their first win season, second year in a row. And my oh my, how the tables turned. Remember last year, it was the Cowboys coming in with nothing to play for. The Eagles was just pretty much playing spoil, and the Cowboys rest their stars. Now it's the Eagles with everything all wrapped up, and they're going to rest their stars as the Cowboys are trying to salvage their terrible season so far. As, oh boy, I'm pretty sure they're resting all their stars, the Eagles are. I haven't heard anything about it, but I'm pretty sure they will, because they have nothing else really to play for and such. And of course the Cowboys, they got nothing to play for except maybe morale, pride, and such. And maybe to get a win record just to save maybe Jason Garrett's coaching job there. So I think the Cowboys will get this one, even with the Eagles benching their stars, which I'm still not fully 100% sure they're doing. And then it's the Browns going to the Steelers, as the Browns try to avoid 0-16 for the first time ever and join the 2008 Lions as the only team to go 0-16. And the Steelers, they still are in the playoff hunt. playoff clinching scenario, because if they win and the Patriots lose, they can get home field advantage for the first time since 2004. But for some strange, unknown reason, those Steelers decided to possibly rest Le'Veon Bell and Big Ben? Steelers, this is not like the game last year when you played the Browns. You were stuck at the third seed no matter what. Here, you still have a shot to get first round bye. Yeah, it's not likely since the Patriots at home against the Jets, but you still have a shot. Don't rest the starters. And also, do you really want to have that on your head? The fact that you gave the Browns possibly their first win of the year? Do you really want that on your resume this season? Come on, man. Don't rest the starters. And of course, remember last year when they rested their starters, the Browns almost pulled it off. If it wasn't for the changed overtime rules, they would have won that game too. Because remember, they got a field goal in overtime, and then the Steelers went down to get the win with that touchdown. So you can't really underestimate the Browns for this one, especially since they're trying to avoid 0-16. So, oh boy, this one's gonna be so difficult to pick. I think since the Steelers are resting the stars, I think in an upset, I might actually pick the Browns for this one, because the Steelers are so stupid to rest their stars and stuff, and I'm sure the Browns are going to try so hard and so desperately to try and avoid 0-16, so I can't wait to see what happens with that one. But remember, Steelers, like I said, you still have a shot to get home field advantage. Don't rest Ben and Bell. And then we get to our 4 p.m. games, with the next game I'm going to save for last, since I think it should be the Sunday night game. So we'll start off next with the Bengals going to the Ravens, as the Ravens have a shot. If they win, that's it. They wrap up the 5th seed in the playoffs and make it in for the first time since 2014, with their date set at the Chiefs. However, if they lose, they still can get a playoff spot if 2 of their 3 opponents in the wildcard round lose. But unfortunately for them, if they lose and the Titans win, they will fall to the 6th seed, have to go to the Jaguars instead. And if they lose and the Titans win and the Bills or Chargers win, the Ravens could very likely be eliminated. So they got a lot to play for in this game, and they can't afford to lose against the Bengals, who the Bengals, remember, have a very good record against the Ravens in Baltimore. The Ravens didn't beat them last year to the first time since 2013, so the Bengals could maybe play good, even though remember when they got shut out at the very beginning of the season. So you can't underestimate them, Ravens. And they're going to be trying to play spoiler here, so you got to watch out for that, especially since it could be Marvin Lewis's last game of the season. But I still think the Ravens are going to get it, but watch out. And it's the Bills going to the Dolphins, as the Bills try to get their first win season since 2014. And the Bills, if they win and Chargers and Titans lose, the Bills can clinch the playoff spot for the first time since 1999 and end not only the longest drought in the league after 18 years, but possibly I think it's the longest drought in North American sports. And of course, if that happens too, and the Ravens lose, they possibly can go to take the 5th seed away from the Ravens and go to the Chiefs instead, who they beat earlier in the year. So it's possible, but I'm not fully sure. However, if the Titans or Chargers win, they're eliminated no matter what. I think even if they go 9-7, as long as the Titans or Chargers win, they're eliminated. So they got a lot of work ahead of them in order for this game. And of course, they got destroyed by the Patriots last week. That's not surprising whatsoever. The Dolphins got spanked by the Chiefs last week too. Now, of course, this game, this teams have been back and forth, I think, in Miami since 2012. And the last time the Bills won Miami was that incredible, destructive 41-14 game in 2015. However, the Dolphins, I still think overall, are much more reliable playing against the Bills when they host in Miami. So I think the Dolphins will get it and end the Bills season. And it's the Saints going to the Buccaneers. And for the Saints, if they win, they will wrap up the NFC South for the first time since 2013 as the NFC South champion. And if the Rams lose, the Saints can go up to the 3rd seed, actually, and host the Falcons or Seahawks. However, if the Rams win, they will be stuck hosting the Panthers in the wildcard round. As the Saints got that very needed spanking they gave to the Falcons. And the Buccaneers, they had such an impressive performance against the Panthers, but they just couldn't pull it off again when they had the lead until like the last 30 seconds. So, man, what a disappointing finish that was. Now, the Saints got to watch out because the Buccaneers, although the Saints have an overall good winning record, I think they're like 4-1 in Tampa Bay since 2012. The Buccaneers, every one of those years, were always very competitive. I don't think any of those games that even the Saints won were blowouts. I think they were right within a score. So, the Saints, you got to take the Buccaneers seriously, and they still have some fight in them these last bunch of weeks. They're losing a lot of close games, so you can't underestimate them, especially since you got so much to work for you. You got to pull it off. However, also in that time, remember, like I said, since when the Saints, from 2009 to 2011 and 2013, when they had the strong offense and defense, they were undefeated against the Buccaneers. So I think that can have a lot of sway for them, and I think the Saints will get it, but don't underestimate the Buccaneers. And then it's the Jaguars going to the Titans, as the Titans try to get their first win season for the second year in a row. And for the Jaguars, they're stuck at the third seed no matter what. And for the Chiefs, if they win, they're in the playoffs for the first time since 2008. And if they win and the Ravens lose, they will get the fifth seed and go to the Chiefs instead of the Ravens go to the Jaguars. However, if the Ravens win, they'll have to go to the Jaguars the same damn week next week. That'll be very funny, too. However, if they lose, and of course, if either the Chargers or Bills win, they are eliminated. And of course, I heard Mike Munchak's not on the hot seat pretty much, which is kind of interesting. I mean, they got back-to-back 500 records, but of course, yeah, 8-4 now, 8-7, possibly on the verge of missing the playoffs and not doing good. They're not a good 8-win team at all at the moment. So, yeah, Mike Mularkey, you should be watching out. As of course, they blew that game against the Rams last week, as the Jaguars also got destroyed and blown out by the 49ers, allowing the most points they had that entire season so far. Now, of course, the Jaguars have not beaten the Titans in Nashville since 2012. The Titans have blown out the Jaguars pretty much every single game, although the Jaguars are now the much better team going into this game. But I think the Titans will still somehow get it because of that history. And of course, the Jaguars, they have nothing else to play for except maybe to knock the Chiefs out, but hosting the Chiefs might actually be probably the best thing for them in the playoffs, even though they got destroyed by them during the regular season when they host them. So who knows what happened, but I think the Titans will get and clinch their a playoff spot. And it's the Chiefs going to the Broncos, as the Chiefs already wrapped up the fourth seed. There's nothing they can do about it. And because of that, they're going to give Patrick Mahomes his first start, which I'm looking forward to seeing, since he's going to be the future, possibly even next year. Who knows what's going to happen with Alex Smith, since I'm sure his contract's getting up there in terms of being renewed and stuff. As the Chiefs got that hard-needed victory against the Dolphins last week, they spanked them as they now won 3 in a row. And the Broncos, they got destroyed by the Redskins last week. Now, of course, the Chiefs have not lost in Denver since 2014. They've won 2 in a row now, especially that wild overtime finish last year. But, of course, they're not playing for anything right now. The Broncos are just, I would say, playing spoiled, but, of course, nothing's going to change for the Chiefs. They're stuck at the 4th seed no matter what. So, who really knows what happens, but I think maybe the Chiefs might actually pull it off again, but I won't be surprised if the Broncos will get it either. And then it's the Raiders going to the Chargers, as the Chargers make their first appearance in LA since 1994 when they were the LA Raiders. And the Chargers trying to get their first win season since 2014. And for the Chargers, if they win and the Titans and Bills lose, they are in. And they'll get the first playoff spot since 2013. And if they win and the Titans lose but the Bills win, they'll have the tiebreaker over them. And depending on this case, if the Chargers get in and the Ravens lose, maybe the Chargers might get the 5th seed perhaps. I'm not so sure about that, but that's still a possibility maybe. As the Raiders, oh my God, they had such a defensive, hard-fought game against the Eagles last week, and they just couldn't get it in the end when they had it right on the palm of their fingertips right there. And the Chargers barely beat the Jets last week. That wasn't really an impressive performance right there. However, the Chargers are definitely the better team right now, and I think it's going to be the Chargers getting this one. And it's the 49ers going to the Rams, and for the Rams, if they win, they will secure the 3rd seed. However, if they lose and the Saints or Panthers win, they will fall to the 4th seed. However, if all of them lose, the Rams still have the 3rd seed, so it's either going to be the 3rd or 4th seed, depending on what happens. As, of course, the Rams got that hard-fought victory against the Titans last week. And the 49ers, oh my goodness, they've won 4 in a row now. My God, what a turnaround this team has made. As it's pretty obvious, Jimmy Garoppolo has set himself as the future franchise QB for now, although I'm still a little skeptical about that. So now, I don't think I've heard anything about the Rams possibly resting their starters or anything like that, because I'm sure they would rather host the Falcons or Seahawks instead of hosting the Saints or Panthers possibly. So I'm sure they're going to play the starters. But they can't underestimate the 49ers. They haven't... 2015 was the last time the Rams beat the 49ers at home. That's last year. Remember, they got swept by them, and there are only 2 wins last year. You can't also underestimate the 49ers since they're on a hot streak right now with that 4-win streak, but I think the Rams will get it. But don't underestimate the 49ers. They can still pull it off. And then it's the Cardinals going to the Seahawks as the Cardinals try to avoid their first losing season for the 2nd year in a row. As the Cardinals destroyed the Red Giants last week. They shut them out pretty much. And the Seahawks got that very impressive victory against the Cowboys last week. When they looked like they had nothing to play for, they actually pulled it off. And for the Seahawks, if they win and the Falcons lose, they will get into the playoffs for the 6th year in a row and have to go to like possibly 4 different teams possibly. It's still unknown yet. But of course, it doesn't matter if they win. It doesn't matter if they win. If the Falcons win, it's done for them. They have no shot to get in. So they got to win this one. Hope the Panthers actually try to fight for home field, first round bye, in order to get in. Now, I would probably pick the Seahawks for this one. But remember, the Seahawks have not beaten the Cardinals at home since 2014. In fact, since 2012, the Cardinals actually have a winning record in CenturyLink Field. So the Cardinals actually can put up a decent performance against the Seahawks and when they go to CenturyLink Field. So you can't underestimate them. And I also don't think the Seahawks really have much left in them. I think last week was just a miracle that they pulled it off. And I think the Cardinals will get this and end the Seahawks season. And then we get to the final 4 p.m. game, which I saved for last, which I thought should have been Sunday night and still should have. And I kept this one because it has a major playoff implications, as it's the Panthers going to the Falcons. Now, here's the playoff scenarios. Falcons win, they clinch a playoff spot for the 2nd year in a row. And for the Panthers, if they win and the Saints lose, they will clinch the NFC South for the first time since 2015. And also, if the Rams lose, they can go up to the 3rd seed possibly too. So that's something to really look forward to. But here's something else very interesting. If they win and the Vikings lose and the Rams lose to be safe, and of course the Saints lose in order to get the division, the Panthers can clinch first round bye for the first time since 2015. Yes. The Vikings holding the 2nd seed is not secured yet. The Panthers are the only other team that can take it from them. So it's possible, and the Panthers need to fight really hard to beat the Falcons and hope the Saints lose and the Vikings lose to ensure it. And also, funny thing too, if the Rams actually get the victory, even if the Vikings lose, the Panthers will be stuck at the 4th seed, the Rams will get the 3rd seed, and the Vikings will still get first round bye with the tiebreakers and such. So there's a lot of work going against the Panthers for this one, but they still have a shot to get first round bye in the division, so they gotta fight hard to get this one. Now to the game itself. Now, the Panthers have not beaten the Falcons in Atlanta since 2014 when they won the NFC South that year too, remember. The Falcons have won 2 in a row now, and they were much more impressive against the Panthers in this one. So you can't underestimate the Falcons Panthers. You really cannot, and also, as much as the Falcons have struggled this year, Panthers have not looked necessarily really good either. You only have 350 points scored, but over 300 points allowed. You just have like a 50-point differential and stuff. That's not necessarily really good for an 11-5 team, so you got a lot of concerns to deal with. And because of your history, I think the Falcons will get it and clinch their playoff spot, even though in my prediction they'll still get it with the Seahawks losing. So those are my picks for Week 17. I can't wait for the games tomorrow. And of course, here's the playoff standings based upon my predictions if they go as they were, just like I did last year. It would be in the AFC, Patriots number 1 at 13-3, Steelers number 2 at 12-4, Jaguars number 3 at 10-6, Chiefs number 4 at 10-6, Ravens number 5 at 10-6, and the Titans number 6 at 9-7. And in the NFC, it would be the Eagles number 1 at 13-3, then the Vikings number 2 at 13-3, the Rams number 3 at 12-4, number 4 with the Saints at 12-4, the Panthers number 5 at 11-5, and last would be the Falcons at 10-6. So it would be the Patriots and Steelers with the byes, the Titans going to the Jaguars, and the Ravens going to the Chiefs. And the NFC, actually, matter of fact, it stays the exact same as it was the entire playoffs. I mean, last week. How about that? Last 2 weeks, actually, I think. So, can't wait to see what happens in the playoffs. And, of course, I'll be doing my playoff predictions the Monday after the regular season because I have to wait for the schedule and stuff and to see what happens for next week's games and such. And, of course, I got a whole bunch of videos planned post after the 2017 season. The Super Bowl timeline video get updated. The NFL Projects 2017 version video getting uploaded and stuff. So we have a lot to look forward to after the regular season, of course, after the season as well. So see you after this week's over with my